Morning, everybody. Welcome to the bike show. As you can see on stage, we've got, well, I think it's Alex Lowe's from Samsung Honda. Obviously, good of you to come, Alex. Thanks very much, mate, for turning up. John McGuinness is supposed to be here at some point today, but I haven't seen him yet. Obviously a busy season for you so far, Alex. You know, with, in my opinion, probably the best team you've been with so far in your career. Obviously you're training very hard. Just tell us about your training session last night in Lincoln.
Yeah, obviously I was training hard really last night, putting some moves out there on the dance floor. But yeah, like I said, it's the best team I've been with, and it's a great opportunity for me to take my career to that next step. So. And it's a good opportunity for me to learn from the team and their experience, and hopefully put that to good use in the races, which are not going too bad so far. So yeah, should be all right.
Now, for me, you seem to have been around for a lot of years, even though you're still a young lad. I was looking at some history of yours last night, and born in 1990. Is that right? I even said to the wife about that, and she laughed her head off. But obviously, you spent the first part of your career on 125s, on the two strokes, 80s and then 125s after winning the club championship in motocross. And a massive move over to four strokes in 2007 on Supersport. Obviously, two strokes really now are a thing of the past, but what's your preference there?
When I was racing in 125s, and obviously before my time, the 125s and 500s and 250s were the main class, and they're really fun to ride. The noise, the smell, and everything is there's a lot more of a thrill than a four-stroke. But four strokes are good now. They've obviously come on a long way since your day, Steve. So they're just as fun to ride. And obviously the bikes I'm riding now, the technology and stuff in them, it's great and sort of a privilege to ride.
Cracks me up. What are you now? 26, 7? 22. I started racing when I was 25. Didn't even start for them first race. It's not right, is it? Also, we have here Gillick Kawasaki's Ben Wilson, another local lad. Come on, Ben. Give him a big hand. Come on. Just come round here, mate. We're going to find you a chair. Ben, another local lad, obviously from Boston. No. Well, close to Boston. But Spalding. Oh, Flower Man. Ben, obviously you're here today and tomorrow. Just chatting away to Alex here about a bit of history and obviously where he came from. You as a Sam racing man, obviously you instruct with me quite a bit on the short tracks here, isn't it? Used to going sideways. But what got you into road racing to begin with?
I got road racing through my father, really. He had a bike shop, and I used to come to the races and probably watch Steve as well, to be honest, and just thought that's what I wanted to have a go at, and that's what I did. So ever since then I've been road racing, and had a long history with Kawasaki ever since, really, to be honest.
Yeah, you started off...
Just mention how well I did last week first.
Yeah, no, obviously Ben's pushing very hard in the British Supersport Championship with Gillick Kawasaki, as I said, but a fantastic weekend. You've had not a lacklustre, but a difficult start to the season, shall we say. I know how much effort you put in on and off the track, but obviously you've had a little bit, not like Ben Wilson, result-wise the first 2 or 3 meetings, but put that all to bed at Knockhill last weekend and maximum points, and stuck yourself back up there in the championship and mentally against the people around you.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, at Knockhill, I did the double, and it's fantastic for your confidence, and it was fantastic for the team. We've had like Steve said, I've not had the best of starts of the season. I've been on the podium 3 times until we went to Knockhill, and it was a little bit difficult when we went to Alton Park, crashing in the qualifying session, and that put me out of the first race, and then I had to start from the back of the grid and ended up finished 7th. But I knew we had the pace at Alton Park, but we put it all together at Knockhill, and we got the double, and it was fantastic to do that.
I'm not ignoring you now, Alex, sorry. So just tell me, did your teammate come and give you a big kiss and a cuddle after, was he positive or negative?
Yeah. To be honest, everybody shook my hand apart from one person, and we were not going to say who that was, but you know, that's just the way it is, and I'm not really too fussed. He's on his side of the garage, I'm on my side of the garage, and we get on well enough, but pretty sure I won't be going around there for a cup of tea, that is for sure.
No, all right, fair enough. Right, Alex, obviously your weekend was quite the opposite, really. You know, you've had, so far this year, you've been on the top step of the podium and stood on the podium most rounds until Knockhill. You know, obviously Knockhill's a very difficult track. You've just been testing, like you've just been telling me, at Cadwell Park. Knockhill's a difficult track where 0.2 of a second makes a massive difference, but you struggled there a little bit. Well, it wasn't a little bit of a crash, it was a proper crash. Not much damage to yourself or the machine, luckily, but not the best of weekends.
The way I look at it is you have to have, you know, bad weekends to have good weekends, and Knockhill's a difficult track, and you know, if a fourth place is a bad result this year, then you know, I'll take that. You know, last year at this point in the season I'd have been over the moon to finish fourth, so you know, I've got to be realistic. I didn't ride very well, I made a few mistakes, it was my fault in race one, but you know, hopefully I'll learn from that, and yeah, the team and the bike are fantastic, and you know, I've not enjoyed my racing as much as I am now, so you know, I don't want to worry about it too much. It's just one of them things, and you know, obviously everything's going shaky's way at the minute, but yeah, I need to get up there and ruffle his feathers and you know, sort of get ready for the showdown in a couple of months' time.
Yeah, you've obviously, you know, like I said, 6 podiums, you've had a win, you're pushing hard, you know, which is brilliant. This year, like I said earlier, for me, you're in the best team in the paddock. You know, you're making the most of that, really. You've had some good rides in the past, and you obviously been going from strength to strength, and now with the proper team, it is a good team effort. But you know, is there added pressure there?
No, not at all. You know, I can't put any more pressure on than I put on myself. I work as hard as I can. I work as hard as I can in practice, and I do as well as I can in the races. You know, if I start thinking that you know, the Honda boys are going to be thinking this or thinking that, it's just going to, you know, get me nervous and not let me ride how I want to ride. So you know, like I said before, I'm on a good bike, I'm with a good team, and I need to make sure that I'm focusing and using my head as much as I can, and getting nervous and worrying about the pressure, that's not going to help that. So no, I don't think there's any more pressure. It's just a little bit easier to do the job. You know, I've rode bad bikes in the past. I've rode bad, I've rode good, I've crashed a lot. I've done stuff wrong, really, as much as I've done stuff right. So sometimes you have to do it wrong to learn what's, you know, how to do it right. So yeah, now I know what to do. I just got to focus hard and do it. And I think I keep going back to that point, but I need to beat that old man that's shaky pen.
Keep it up.
Yeah, I think that works on and off track, especially for you and your brother. You know, you got to learn through your mistakes. But no, it is what it is. Obviously, now with the championship being changed, you know, you're halfway through the first part of the season, through towards the knockout. You know, you've had 4 rounds, 36 points down on Shaky. Can you get back on there and kick his backside?
Yeah, I think I can. Obviously, I'm not one to sit here and think that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to do my very best. And you know, I'm pretty sure I've got a good bike. I know I've got a good bike, and I know I've got good tracks coming up for me. And Alton Park was always a bad track for me, and I managed to win there this year. So if I can take that on for the rest of the year, I think we should be in a decent position. Shaker's obviously full of confidence, but it's a long year. We've done 4 races. There's a long way to go, and you know, I'm sure he's going to have bad weekends as much as everyone else. So it should be fun, and you know, no one likes it when there's someone else winning as many races as he's winning. So hopefully I can get some wins next time out.
And Ben, obviously, like we said, you know, back on the top step of the podium, mega feeling, confidence boosting. You've been over at the Northwest 200 last year. Any ideas of sticking your head in the road racing scene, or is that a definite no?
To be honest, I went over to the TT this year and had a look as well, and there was some bits of that circuit, and I thought, yeah, this is really fantastic, you know, and I would like to ride through this bit here. And then there's other bits where you just sort of move your head to miss a brick wall or something, and I just don't know at the minute. You know, my style at the minute is all action and everything like that, and I seem to be pushing the front as hard as I do the back, and I just don't think it'd suit me at the minute. But at the minute, I'll just stick with my short circuits. But you know, you can never say never, and I've got a lot of respect for the lads that do it, and I'll just carry on watching them for a couple more years before I make my decision.
Yeah, well, it was pretty much the same for me. In all fairness, you know, I kind of, well, I always think I'm the smoothest rider out there, but you know, when I first decided to go to the TT, I was, you know, a lot of people kind of said it'd probably be my last race for obvious reasons, but you certainly have to change your style and calm down a little bit, you know. Leave a little bit in spare to learn the place, and then if you want to start winning, obviously then you've got to start to push a little bit harder. But what about the future for you, Ben? Obviously, you know, we're all hoping and rooting, well I am especially, that you're obviously going to not just beat your teammate but beat Stuart Easton for the championship this year, and put that final nail in your coffin, shall we say, and win the Supersport Championship. But what about after then? What are you looking at? Superbikes? Well, would you like your Gearling team to go Superbike, or maybe across the European Championship?
To be honest, I don't think my team have got the actual budget or anything like that to go Superbike, so I don't think that's really an option for the team. They like being, you know, the official Kawasaki team for Supersport, and I don't think they'd have that if they went to the Superbike series. So I think they're happy doing what they're doing. I'd love to win the championship for them. Obviously, there's me and Alistair that are in the top 3 at the minute, so they've got a good chance, obviously, this year of winning the championship with either me or with Alistair. But you know, it's not going to be easy. There's Stuart Easton who's pushing so hard this year, and he's right on the pace. You know, he's so smooth, and so is Alistair. So it's going to be a tough one at the minute. But to be honest, I'd love to get back into Superbike and have a go at doing that again. But it's been a long while since I've been in there. But I'm sure we can get to grips with it again and have another go. But at the minute, it's just 120% on just doing what I'm doing and trying to win that championship, and that's going to be my goal at the minute.
Yeah, no, pretty good. Obviously, to get back. Obviously, he was in a very good setup before with Vivaldi, you know, on the Superbike side, or it looked fancy from the outside anyway. But you know, it was tough, and probably it was very strong then. The British Championship, you know, massive depth of field. Not that it's not fast now, obviously, but you know. Jumping from these days, I think jumping from the Supersport to a Superbike is quite a big difference, and you can't afford to be too aggressive, as Alex will probably, you know, agree. No, I'm not saying you're aggressive. You're not big enough to be aggressive, but you know, as far as that goes, Alex, with Sam, does it really pay having him in the garage, in the box, having him looking out for you, or does it get right up your nose?
What does get up my nose is him winning races every week, because that's all I hear from him all the time, and I need to try and keep up with him. But that's something that I feel quite lucky to have. You know, a twin that's into the same things and does the same job as you is great, and he does support me. So he's more critical on me than anyone else. I think after the crash at Knock Hill, he just said to me, "That was silly, wasn't it?" That's all I got. That's it. Not are you all right? Just that was silly, wasn't it? Cheers.
And then, but does he do anything, you know, obviously of structure? Does he help out? Does he go out spotting around the track, looking at different things, or is he just there to kind of hold your hand and or pretend he's you?
He's got no chance. He don't even know how to set his own bike up, so he'll have no chance of watching me and see what I can do.
And as far as that goes, have you ever stood in for each other? As in, without anybody knowing?
No, the closest we've come to doing that was 2011 at Monza. He broke his shoulder at Assen in a crash, and I had to go and do the like fitness test for him. And I'm trying to make out my shoulder. I'm perfectly okay. I'm doing these 20 press-ups, trying to make out my shoulders a bit sore, and the doctor can't believe it that I've got a broken shoulder blade and just doing 20 press-ups like that. And then later on in the week, and obviously Sam's limping around with his shoulder, so that was obviously a bit naughty really, but we've never swapped bikes or anything, and I won't mind to go on his Yamaha though, it looks pretty trick.
Yeah, I think in all fairness, the Yamaha or the Kawasaki is probably the best 2 bikes in the championship, or certainly in the World Championship, without doubt. You know, probably the Yamaha is probably the fastest thing I think out there. Yeah, you got to say that. But as far as your future is concerned, you know, obviously you want to be pushing and chasing and going as hard as you can for the Superbike Championship in the UK this year. What about, obviously, you're looking at your brother in World Supersport and hopefully watching him all year win the title if possible. Don't you want to be there?
Yeah, 100%. I want to be in World Championship race in whatever class it is. You know, British Superbikes is great, and you know, I'd love to be a British Superbike champion. It's a dream, and it's something that I'm going to do my very best to do this year. But beyond that, you know, I'd like to do World Championship. You know, I don't think the people in World Championship really look at the British Championship as much as they probably should. You know, I've been speaking to some people with Sam and stuff for next year, and they don't really know what's going on. And obviously, if I can get to World Superbikes or World Supersport or Moto2 or something like that, I'd love to do that. But the most important thing for me is to be with the right team. You know, I've been with good teams and not so good teams, and it really does make a big difference. So, whatever I do, as long as I'm with a decent team and I can enjoy it, I'll be enough.
You've obviously been very fast yourself on Supersport over the years. Upside down a little bit, but but that's the way it is when you're pushing hard. But obviously, you've been some places you've been very, very fast. What about Moto2?
Yeah, I'd love to do Moto2. It's an exciting class, but the drop side of Moto2 is you need to go with a team that wants you to be there. It's full of crazy fast Spanish kids that that if you go to Moto2 and you're finishing 20th, 21st, like Danny Kent for example was winning 125 Grand Prix last year, and he's having a difficult year this year, and I don't think it's him, it's probably the bike or the team, or there's so many other factors, and that's what it can do to you. If I go there and finish 20th for 2 years, I'm going to be back in British Superbikes 2 after that. So you need to be quite careful. You can't just jump into things and that you think are going to be better, and there's a lot of broken promises in our game, unfortunately, as well, as you probably know. So I just want to focus on winning. If I'm winning and doing my best, then everything else should take care of itself. But I would love to race against Sam so we can settle the argument on who's faster.
That was going to be my next question. What about going to the World Supersport, obviously against him if he's champion? Right, okay. We've waffled on a bit now. I've got 10 quick questions for you. You can both answer them. Have you got a bike licence for the road?
No.
Unbelievable. I've got down here, single or girlfriend? I know you're...
I'm looking. If there's anyone interested, I'm looking.
Girlfriend.
Rock, rap or soul?
Rock.
Check you out. Beer or spirits? Last night?
Spirits.
Oh dear. Blonde or brunette?
Either's alright.
Blonde.
Breathing. Holiday on the beach with your bird or snowboarding with the lads?
Snowboarding with the lads.
Snowboarding.
Pleased to hear it. Chinese or Indian?
Chinese.
Indian.
Women, that is. All-time hero. Sporting hero, shall we say?
Valentino Rossi for me. Obviously someone that was at the top of his game when I was growing up and coming through the ranks, so I'd have to say Rossi.
Kevin Swans.
Oh man. Ideal woman, you be careful. She's not here, is she? Ideal woman, personality or...
Jessica Alba would do, I think, for a bit of practice.
Would do?
I have no idea.
You don't say. What's your guilty pleasure? This is the last question. I mean, I'm not talking about women.
Yeah, Nando's. I don't know anything else to say.
Clotted cream scones.
Oh, I hate cream. Right, have we got any questions anybody would like to ask the fellas? Sensible questions, please.
This is Alex. You said last week at Knockhill it's not one of your favourite tracks. What is your favourite track on the circuit and why?
Yeah, Knockhill's not my favourite track because I can't seem to ride around there, but my favourite track, it's a difficult one. I've got to say Cadwell Park. It's an awesome track, and I grew up racing around there. It's a lot different to most other places, and I think I can honestly say it's the only track that actually, in the BSB kind, that actually scares me when I'm going fast. So Cadwell Park for me.
Any more? Any more questions?
What's it like coming around them bends and then going straight over the mountain, flat out?
You're just sort of hoping that you got it right, and you're not going to get it wrong really. But the mountain's good. The good thing about the mountain is something different to anything else that we do. There's no other track where we're jumping like that, so it's definitely a little bit different. I've not quite got the hang of it like Josh Brooks, but maybe this year I can do some bigger jumps.
Testing last week was quite successful there for you, yeah?
Yeah, really good. I had a good test at Cadwell, but this guy's pretty impressive over the mountain.
I heard some rumours you've been testing, Ben. Positive or not?
Yeah, Yeah, we went to Cadwell the other week, and yeah, we made big progress with the bike. Made it just how I wanted it, and that was just before we went to Knockhill, so it obviously had a good effect on it, and hopefully now it will carry on for the rest of the year.
I heard you was body surfing.
I did fall off as well.
Any more?
And my teammate did as well.
Right, you class him as a mate, do you? Any more questions, please?
If you fall off, your crash helmet, is that got to be thrown away, a new crash out, new leathers?
Yeah, you know, normally if you've had a crash off and you hit your head, and Ben as well, we're both in short, they normally take them away and see if they can be used again or not. But obviously if they do get taken back, I don't seem to get my crash helmets anymore, which is a bit of a shame. Now I've got nice helmets, I don't go and get them. I've got loads of old shitters that I used to race in when I was learning.
Anybody else? No? Okay.
I've got a question. Honestly now, in front of all these people watching, how old is Steve Plater?
Over 25.
Yeah.
I'm the same age as Chris Walker.
46, that's not bad, you look alright for that.
Nobody knows.
I've got a question for you. How was your shoulder? And all your nerves in your hand?
No, I'm good now, thanks. But well, say good. I'm not perfect, but the wife says I never was. I've pretty much they've done as much work as they can for now, anyway, and they don't want to do any more. That arm's had 12, 13 operations in the last 18 months, so that's enough for now. I still can't feel those two fingers and my thumb. I can still ride all right. But the trouble is the biceps not working either, so I can kind of do 20 press-ups no problem, but I can't lift my rucksack. So it's a bit weird, but riding is not an issue, not a problem, but I'm still involved with some world endurance and bits and bobs, but I'm probably going to, at the end of this year, not ride anymore at all. So answering your question, it's good and as good as it's going to get. I've just got to kind of hang around and wait for any more improvements, really. Is that it? We're done?
So when you hug the wife, you use the other arm, do you? You can feel it.
Yeah, I can punch better with my right arm. Right, if anyone would like anything signed in by the boys, or myself even, just forming a nice orderly queue just here, and I'm sure the boys will sign anything you've got. Thanks very much for listening to myself and the fellas, and we'll see you again on stage shortly.